Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm here with one of the oldest tags ever. This is the Draw My Life video and I've wanted to film this since I saw Hannah upload hers. So this is my take on the Draw My Life tag. So I'm going to start on the 20th of October 1999, which is when I was born, and I was the first child. And I was only just a 90s baby, but I do like to say that I was a 90s baby because it was pretty cool, you know, when all my friends are born in 2000. For the first few years of my life, I obviously don't have very many memories. The only one I do have is a very standout memory of my family holiday to Portugal that I went on in 2001. And this stands out to me because this is my first memory, and it's actually because 9/11 happened when we were in Portugal. Tragic, I know, and an awful first memory to have, but this is the first standout memory that I have, like, before my brother was born. This is the only thing I remember. But I did travel quite a lot, I just don't remember the rest. So on the 14th of November 2002, one child became two and Harry was born, and I was no longer an only child, and at first I was kind of like, do I like this? But then after I realised Harry provided the perfect playmate, I realised that I did, and we became a family of 4. So then shortly after Harry was born, I actually started primary school, and I don't have that many memories from the beginning of primary school. I just know that I did really enjoy it, although at first I was kind of like, I don't like being at school, I like being at home, but I did grow to love it, and I started in a class that was very, very small. There was only 8 of us in the class, because the school had actually only opened the year before, so we were a really, really tiny school, which meant there was a really close community of friends, and it was actually really nice. Just after I'd started school in 2006, we actually moved house. Now we didn't move very far, we just moved into a slightly bigger house, and it meant that Harry was able to go to the same school that I was at, because if we'd have stayed where we were living before, Harry would have had to go somewhere else. But this is the first big change in my life. Like, obviously before that I'd been quite settled in my other house, but I do still live in the same house now. The following year, in 2007, we went on our first big family holiday. Now, we'd travelled quite a lot before that, but in 2007 we went across the Atlantic to America for the first time on a family holiday to Walt Disney World, which, if you remember, I actually went back in the summer, but I went in 2007 and 2009, and honestly they were some of the best memories I have as a child growing up. Disney is incredible and was somewhere that we loved going as a family. We went to the one in Paris several times as well, but Disneyland Florida 2007 was my first proper big holiday. Pretty much straight away when I got back from Florida, I actually started playing the flute, something that I still play today, though just not as frequently. But I did this for about 9 years. I was quite dedicated to my flute, and I took 5 grades in it and actually really enjoyed it. In 2008, pretty much straight away, I also started ice skating. This was around the time where I decided I wanted to join loads of clubs and do musical instruments and all that kind of stuff. But I actually figure skated for 3 years and I got 12 grades in it, which you might not know. Now, shortly after that, in 2011, I actually made the biggest change of my life so far and moved from primary school up to high school, something which was quite a shock to the system and very different from my very small primary school, but something that I did eventually learn to love, although at first I was pretty scared because it was filled with people a lot bigger than me, a lot scarier than me, and I didn't actually know that many people. So it was in 2013 when I was in year 8 and I had settled into a friendship group that I actually started my first YouTube channel with my best friend at the time, Rachel, and we started a channel, and some of you might remember it, we called it Teen Life 13, and we spent pretty much the whole summer between year 8 and 9 dedicating ourselves to filming these videos for this YouTube channel, inspired by people like O2L, Tyler Oakley, 2 of us quickly became 4 of us, and we did that for pretty much 3 years and we all absolutely loved it. Around about the same time, throughout all of high school, I was going through what I'm going to call my Harry Potter phase, and I'm still kind of in this, to be honest, but I was the biggest Harry Potter fan you can imagine all the way through high school. And because of it, I visited some amazing places and made some amazing friends and absolutely loved being obsessed with Harry Potter, and despite the fact that it was kind of nerdy, I literally did not care because I loved it. So in 2014, I actually went on a school trip with my history GCSE, and I thought I would include this because this was one of my standout moments in high school. But we went on the battlefields trip, which was to the Somme and to Ypres in Belgium and all of those kind of places. and we went for the centenary of the outbreak of World War I, so obviously it was quite a big year, and this was a huge standout moment because not only did I make loads of new friends, and one of my best friends, who you probably all know, Gabby, I actually made friends with on this trip, but it was one of the best experiences and most humbling moments, and I'll honestly never forget it. Around the same time, I actually got into Sherlock, and I thought I'd include this because I was such a huge Sherlock fan that I actually went to London to do the location tour thing, which I know, nerdy, I don't really care, but this was when I first fell in love with London as a city, and I've been in love with it ever since, but it was Sherlock that really got me into it, so I've got a lot to thank it for. So the same year, this is like 2014 to 2015, I actually decided that it would be a really good idea for me to take up Duke of Edinburgh. Now if you don't know what this is, it's like a camping, brownie / guides kind of thing, but for older people. And me and my friends got very lost and had a tragic experience, and I realised that Duke of Edinburgh was not for me, but it was the biggest learning curve of my teenage years, I kid you not. Now in April 2015, I actually went on my favourite holiday I've ever been on to New York City, where I went with my family for 5 or 6 days, I can't remember, but we had the most amazing time, and some of you might remember the vlogs because on the way out there I actually met Joe Sugg, Casper Lee and Ollie White in the airport, and to be honest it just topped off the experience and it was the best week of my life. It was around the same time that this channel that you're watching now actually really picked up because of these vlogs, so honestly it was such a good week. In October 2015, I also went on another school trip, which is definitely one of my happiest memories. We went to Nice in France and I did a French exchange, and Erin and I stayed with a French family, and it was honestly such a good experience, something that I didn't think I'd ever do and something that I'm really glad that I did. And I also fell in love with Nice. If you ever get the chance to visit, it's honestly such a lovely city. Literally straight after I got back from that trip, I actually started my first job in Debenhams, which I actually worked in the cafe, and this was quite a learning curve for me. I'd never had a proper job before, I'd never worked in the real world, and it was quite a shock to the system, to be honest, and I didn't enjoy the job, but I'm glad I got the experience anyway. So by the time all of that was over, my high school experience was drawing to a close. I was quite happy to be leaving it. I had a really solid group of friends that I ended my high school experience with, and I'm really happy with the way it all went in year 11, and we all went our separate ways. And the real end of that came on August the 25th with our GCSE results, in which I was very happy with mine. I was really pleased with the results I came out with, and I was pretty proud of the hard work I put in as well to get the grades that I got. So that rounded off my high school experience really, and I spent the summer doing YouTube related things. So Summer in the City is a standout moment, as well as obviously the holiday I went on. But I spent the summer with a lot of YouTube friends, loads and loads of YouTube friends, which I absolutely loved. I also was lucky enough to go to a couple of events. The first one started with the benefit boat party, and then there was Summer in the City and a couple of other YouTube events that I felt so lucky to be invited to, and so lucky to be able to spend it with some of my friends that I spent last summer doing everything that I loved, and I'm so grateful for that. So I also spent a lot of it with Hannah and Alice, who very quickly became two of my best friends that I made through doing YouTube, and I couldn't do a Draw My Life without including some of the adventures we've been on because they've been the highlight of my last year, because honestly some of them have been incredible. We were very much the Three Musketeers. And then that brings us pretty much up to date. You guys will know that last September I started sixth form, a decision that didn't really come easy, and I was quite indecisive about choosing between sixth form and college, but I'm so grateful that I chose sixth form because I have so many amazing friends. It wasn't exactly what I expected, it was nothing like school, and I started studying these 4 subjects, which generally speaking I really enjoy, and these have very much shaped the life that I'm living now because obviously they're quite intense courses, but I'm really enjoying most of them. Just after I started sixth form, I went to my favourite YouTube event I've probably ever been to with my friend Liv, who I'm sure you all know, but we actually were lucky enough to go to the Cosmopolitan Influencer Awards last November, and I think this was the biggest realisation moment for me, where I felt like I have got so lucky and I'm stood here with one of my best friends that I've made through YouTube, and it was just generally an amazing night. When I got back from that, I started doing driving lessons quite literally the next day, and something that at first I found absolutely terrifying, but I'm now actually quite enjoying, and I'm pleasantly surprised at how I've progressed, and hopefully will pass fairly soon. So on the 14th of February this year, Tom and I actually became an official couple, which is something I'm sure you guys are aware of, but I couldn't not include it. So far this year it has been absolutely amazing. It's made my whole 2017 so much better and blah blah blah, all the cringy stuff, but I definitely had to talk about this because it's been such a huge impact on my life and I am so excited for future adventures together. But the only other thing to mention from here is what the future holds, and at the moment my AS exams are looming, but aside from that I don't really know what I want to do at the end of it. There are a lot of huge question marks regarding the end of my A-levels and what I'm going to do afterwards. There are a lot of options and a lot of things I need to consider, but I'm not really sure what's going on at the moment. Pretty much all of this is one huge question mark, but the way I see it, it's okay, I'll work it out and things will happen and hopefully it'll all fall into place. But right now this question mark pretty much sums up my life. But yeah, other than that, all I can say is thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to click that button down below and you'll be notified every single time I upload. Look, I'm even drawing the mouse clicking the subscribe. But other than that, I'll see you all tomorrow with another vlog that I'll be uploading at 6 PM. All I can say other than that is thank you for making some of these amazing moments happen. It is down to YouTube and you guys. So yeah, I love you a lot. Bye guys!